This video is going to show you Solo Master Nightfall getting Platinum rank on the Exodus Crash this week on a Arc 3.0 Hunter build using the exotic helmet Assassin's Cowl. This run's going to be on the first reset of the week. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because there's 3 Nightfalls per week if you didn't know, on a daily rotation. This particular modifier right now, the daily modifier, is Enfilade. It's a machine gun modifier, which I didn't go with a machine gun. But just so you know that. But when Lightning Crystals comes up, which is another daily modifier for Nightfalls, that is increased ability to grenade, melee, class ability. When Superconductor comes up as a daily modifier, that is increased super regen. So those 2 Nightfalls, the daily modifiers I've just mentioned, are far superior to farm and play on, as opposed to the first day of the reset for the week. So if it's a pain to you, you're low in power, just wait until the next reset for a better modifier. But I'm still going to cover it today because I'm not busy today and I'm busy tomorrow. So I'll cover it today. And I'll cover this again, this Nightfall, when a better modifier comes up on a day I'm 3. But anyways, getting back to what I'm doing here. So as you can see, I'm on the Arc 3.0 Assassin's Cowl setup, which you keep going invis on melee kill or finish kill. We've got combination blows for the damage. What I'm doing here though is I'm specifically killing all the marauders, the invisible marauders up top, and the shanks and stuff, because I want to spawn kill the champ that spawns up top. The champ will not spawn until you pick up all arc pulses, which is why I left it at 83%. Kill all lads up at top, then we can go up top to then spawn kill, or sort of spawn kill the champ. This makes things a little easier because all the ads will stay in position. So I wanted to maintain my punch dodge, my combination blow. I actually didn't here, it doesn't look like. See, what people need to realise is there's a bad effect going on. If the arc current kills the enemy from, I think it's lethal current, if that counts as the kill and not your melee, you won't get combination blow times 1, 2, 3. Yeah? You'll still go invis. Luckily enough, the electric, if the electric kills the ad, not your punch, then you'll still get invis. It'll still gel with the Assassin's Cowl, but sometimes you'll lose uptime on your combination blow because of that fragment. So you could go Tempest, not fragment, but aspect. You'll go Tempest Flow instead if you want to get a better combination blow going, but you get less ad clear with it, right? So there's a trade-off between the two. Just thought I'd mention that. No one's really sort of mentioned that with the fragments. So again, what I'm doing here is trying to maintain ×3 combo, which I've got, and then it just pulse grenade, punch, punch. A sword would have worked out really well here. Alright. I just went with the linear though. It worked out alright, like really good at the boss. But linear isn't the way to go if you want to be going super fast on this. Sword's better, if I'm being truthful. We're using the arc linear Tarantula. Now, Tarantula isn't getting any use now because of Storm Chaser and stuff. But I can tell you, there is still a spot in the game for Tarantula because box breathing's very good. This particular linear rolls with box breathing. There's a little trick that you can do with box breathing as well to keep it up a little bit more than usual, because it's only proccing once per shot, right? But you can sort of, especially with field prep and stuff with the quick reload, you can, as I said, this field prep box breathing rolls good. I'll show you a little bit more on the tank that's coming up, right? So the plate room, right? Now how this works, if you want an easy clear, just step on and off the plate. Capture a couple of percentage. Every time you see a spawn of enemy, jump off plate. Right? However, if you're doing it in a team a little quicker, if you have like a wall off with a well or a bubble and stuff, you can just stand on the plate and spawn kill everything from that plate, obviously. Obviously this is a solo run, so yeah, stepping on and off the plate's an easier way of sort of taking things step by step, because there's an overload champ every couple of phases. There's actually quite a lot of overload champs in this. I won't be going too in depth with the ad spawns. I'll save that for when GM comes out because it's not too important right now for you to know how many overloads there is at what point, what to do here, there. Because it is only master. And even if you're under leveled, it's not too bad to sort of complete. And there's no bad weekly modifier. The weekly modifier is chaff. Last week we had togetherness. The week before that we had attrition. I think last week we had attrition. Sorry, the week before it was togetherness, and there's famine and stuff like that. This is the easiest weekly Nightfall modifier you've got up, which is chaff. No radar. No big deal. So at 50%, there'll be 2 barriers spawning. So there's no overload on that particular phase. But what you do really need to know is that once you clear out one of the champs, one of the barriers, doesn't have to be 2 of them, just one of them, 3 overloads will spawn on top of you. So you need to make the choice. Do you just kill a champ, one barrier, and then back up? Or do you try and kill them both at the same time? I'm going to try and kill them both at the same time by using a super on one, a grenade on the other. That way they're dealt with, and I don't have to deal with it later. The overloads will spawn up. This is the part where I suggest you back up a little bit. Especially when you're on higher difficulty, you definitely want to back up a little bit. When overloads are in numbers, fun fact, when they're in numbers, they will push you more aggressive. Now, this is just an example of me being out of position, but what will you do when you're out of position? Well, strafing. Notice a point blank range, and he's barely hitting me, you see that, and that's because, well, he is hitting me, but I've just negated how much he would have hit me by the strafe. So good, the light wave bows, just because of that strafe speed and stuff like that. That's the good thing about movement with bows in PvE, which doesn't get mentioned a lot. They're best in slot. They're the best primary to use in PvE Grandmasters, because the movement outstrafe and adds and stuff. Whereas it doesn't need sustained fire. This bow isn't sustained fire, right? Whereas scout rifles are sustained fire. Hand cannons are, even all rifles. Hand cannons not so much, I guess. Creep in and out. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you try to stun something with an auto rifle, that takes sustained fire. A bow doesn't. And bear in mind, you can stun every enemy type in the game, whether it be champ or not. Overload bow, any overload rounds on any weapon works on all enemies in the game. It's not just the stunning element, you also reduce the output damage from the enemy. It's a dual-wieldy perk. And people don't know because it's badly written on the mod description on what overload rounds does. If you actually sit there and read what it says, it also, you take less damage off enemies. It's like that origin trait, Psycho Hack, if you know what that is. So there is 2 solar shields. There's 3 solar shields in actual fact. We can basically override that solar shield with a pulse grenade, which you'll see me do. Right. This is the final phase, I believe, we're on 90%. There's going to be another overload, 2 solar shanks. What I'm doing here, by the way, is actually trying to quickly kill this overload before all the enemy spawns come out. That was just a moment of opportunity to do that. Now, I couldn't proc box breathing. Didn't have the time to do it, but I did have Sundering Glare on, so that procced. If you notice the gun glow glowed up sort of thing, you'll know when it procs. Just meant I could quickly kill that overload before these solar shields start interrupting my damage and stuff like that. Obviously, we were using the exotic bow Wish Ender, which is basically a primary arbalist. I don't know why people are getting so upset that this bow is so good. I've never seen anything like it. Like, we should be happy a bow as good as this. One shot spare your shields no matter what your power level is. I've actually tested it. We should be happy about that. I don't know why people like to make it into a contest between... Oh, they feel insulted. They almost feel insulted by their loadout because they're using Arbalist all the time. They feel insulted that another weapon's come that fills a very similar role. Like, this isn't a competition between what's a better weapon for you to use. You should be using both. If you're somebody who's a keen PvE player and loves this game for PvE purposes, you should be using both weapons. Obviously not at the same time, but you know what I mean. You should be well rehearsed in using both. And if you can only use one and not the other, then that means you're not as good of a player as you should be. You should be able to be used both. You should understand the benefits of Arbalest as opposed to this one. This one generates more heavy ammo because it's an exotic primary, right? Whereas the Arbalest is an exotic energy special kinetic. Different. There's a difference. Now Arbalest is going to give you that more damage after you break shield because it's got disruption break, so it's buffing itself. So we've got to recognise that. But what you've also got to recognise is if you run double primary, you get more heavy. If you run Arbalest, Scout, Heavy, you get less heavy. Like, I think people don't understand this mechanic of double primary, heavy equals more heavy. It's the same the other way around. Double special, heavy equals more heavy, because there's only one brick that's dropping. White ammo doesn't drop now. It's only heavy that would drop. Whereas if you've got a special and a heavy in the mix, you're getting green bricks as well as heavy bricks. So you'll automatically get less ammo. I know this with years of experience. I have a lot of years of experience at this game, ammo-wise, especially with Destiny 2. You know, I've played it since launch non-stop almost, with barely any break. So I do understand how ammo works in the game and how it's changed over time. That was me there showing you the box breathing, reprocking it, right? Not ADSing the entire time. Sort of after you've shot, let go of your ADS, right? Then re-ADS. Keep doing it like that. We melted that tank in a couple of shots. So box breathing is useful, especially with the field prep and stuff. What I'm doing here is trying to spawn kill this overload before the overload goes up the stairs. There's a bit of urgency with that because I want to skip the entire room. Personally, I want to do that. I'll show you how to do it. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can clear out all the dregs. Clear out all the dregs. Get some super energy. Maybe you might need ammo. Do that. So totally do that, especially if you're underpowered. If you're 1580s, you might need to do that. It might be more important to you. Right now, it's not that important to me because I've got ammo. You know, maybe I would have been better off getting a bit more super energy there because I think I ended up needing to wait for a super. Because we do need a super on this fight. Right, now I'm going to split this fight up into 3 main phases. Right, 3 main phases, and that's based on what phase the boss of HP is on for the boss. Because obviously the boss has 3 bars of HP. So on phase 1, it is not a critical phase and you do not need to use a super. For that matter, you don't really need to use much heavy either. It was just an opportunity for me to do that because I was invis. See, that's the thing, I was invisible. This boss was just stood still, which gives me a moment of opportunity to use a bit of linear. Because this boss is kind of a nightmare to use linears on. There's only a couple of times when you have that opportunity to do good damage. Like when you're invis like this. Yeah, the boss started to move there, messed up my aim. But the whole idea of this strategy right now is to use the finishers on Assassin's Cowl. So for every finish kill we get, we are invisible. Now on the first phase, there are 2 phases of ads. This is phase 2 of phase 1, if you like, ad-wise. So what we want to focus on, as I say, is getting our finish kills. We may do punch dodge as well. A bit of both, to be honest. It is safer just to finish every ad though, because how we get the finisher kill is with the bow, because 1 body shot off my Arsenic bite will get that ad finishable to then finish. So that's my combo, bow, finish, like that. Now that's exceptionally really good on the Exploder Shanks, because the Exploder Shanks, they are the key to learning this fight without cheesing it. To learning to understand on where you move to and stuff. Because at the start of phase 2 and 3, Exploder Shanks come out, right, and they sort of swarm the map. So you need to focus the Exploder Shanks first before focusing on champs or anything else, really. That should be your first port of call. But the way I do it, this will also work on GM. People have actually done it like this in the past. Like a solo GM like this, no cheese. And they used Assassin's Call and stuff. So when what we need to do here right now, right, is you know, remember I said about super energy. I should have probably spammed a little bit more super off that previous room that I skipped, because I'm 80%, 85%. It's critical if you're doing this setup that I'm doing and copying what I'm doing, is that you have a super for phase 2 at the very start of it, because it will help. It will help you complete phase 2 without a wipe. And what it means is sort of getting your damage in as fast as possible on the boss to send the boss away. Because the boss obviously goes invis after so much damage is depleted. But obviously we're using burst damage, super, Gathering Storm. Right, now if I rushed this, I would have been on phase 2 with no super. Which would have been, it would have made things a lot harder than what it needs to be. So yeah, I'm going to sort of wait out a little bit of super. I'm going to get a bit of super off the boss. Now we've got it. Because I know that boss is going to go away and phase 2 will start right now. Now, you need to know if the boss is going to spawn left or right. It's either or. You need to just check. Boss is spawn right. Super at the boss. You need to hit your super. If you don't, you're going to lose out on the damage. Because when that boss goes invis and then shows back up, the Gathering Storm super is still attached to the boss. So even though you haven't saw it on camera, right? That super's actually sent the boss away. I believe. I hope so. I hope I've done that on this one. I should have done. But that'll send the boss away. It means that there's no... But yeah, I'm right. It means there's no boss to worry about while the champs come out. Because you've got 2 barriers here to deal with. Right? So this is the hardest phase of the entire fight, in my opinion. Because you've got a lot coming at you. A lot of Vandals with their auto-seek and arc attack. Right? A lot of Exploder Shanks. Now I've told you the Exploder Shanks are what controls the fight for the enemy. So they go all around the outskirts and sort of in the middle. You want to focus sort of map rotation a lot and getting your Exploder Shanks down. Right, prepping them. As I said, bow, then finish. Now Wish Ender, because of how much damage it does, I'm not going to use it because it would one-shot a Shank. That would be bad news for me because it means I couldn't finish that Shank, remain invis for the next Shank and for the next enemy, etc. I'm actually playing this kind of like what you would play a Grandmaster, which is kind of funny because I'm at power. Just goes to show how bad this boss fight's just designed. Not many people like Exodus. Not because it's difficult per se, just because the arena itself... I mean, it's not as bad, nowhere near as bad as it used to be, and there is exploits you can do at the boss. Obviously I haven't done it on this, but I will be entertaining it to see if it still works up top. I have no reason to believe why it shouldn't still work, but I'll have a look at that if it still works. If you're not sure what I mean, it's basically an exploit where you can stand up top, deal damage to all the enemies, and barriers up top, and there's no risk. So now we're just down to a couple of Vandals and 2 barriers, right? Now the Vandals are dangerous, even if they're low in numbers. We're going to use Pulse Grenade. I was planning that to use a Pulse plus Wish Ender, melted the champ. Now we can work on the second one. I'm actually wanting to kill these Vandals first though, because they keep hitting me in the back. But they will run away. I don't know where this guy's going. I know that barrier is going to re-shield up, but that's fine. It gives us a chance to look at what ammo I've got and stuff. Which, to be honest, got far. I've got enough ammo for phase 3. Now, on phase 3, providing that you're high enough in power, right? I don't know exactly what power level you would need to be, but we can sort of just finish him right away. If you can't and you're not high enough in power, then you're going to have to repeat what I've been doing with the finisher kills, with Assassin's Cowl, and staying alive that way. But we finished that champ there. We're waiting to see where the boss is. He went right again. Super immediately. Then linear. Linear as much as you can. And that will finish off the boss on final phase. That was a solo on it. Getting platinum rank on Exodus. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.